Hello and welcome to Introduction to Sociology. Very excited for you to experience this class. When I first got into sociology, I honestly had no idea what it was, and I probably had a degree in sociology before I ever even began to really understand what it was I was studying. I guess it took me a while to get the sociological imagination, or for that light bulb to go off, or for things to just click. And, I suppose for y'all, you might be in the same boat. So, just to give you a quick introduction, we are studying society, which is groups of people. And we're going to take a macro perspective to groups of people, but we're also going to have to go micro and think about some of the small things too, because again, what is society but a bunch of individuals all coming together? So, in this class, we're going to have a little bit of a mix of what is sociology, studying society, we're going to be looking at the sociological theories, functionalism, conflict theory, and symbolic interactionism, and applying those throughout so we can understand how society works. We're going to look at culture, common way of life, and how we're socialized into that culture, how we learn about that way of life, and then become part of the social construction of society. We're going to talk about groups and how the groups you identify with is associated with the cultures that you identify with, and also how your life is structured based upon the groups you identify with, which is how we kind of yield and lead into social stratification, the ways we divide into groups by race and by sex and sexual orientation and overarching socioeconomic status. After that, we're going to look at the major institutions of society, such as the education system and the media, the family, government, and politics, to really understand how large institutions that we have built as a society, as a group of people interacting together, how does that structure and affect our lives? I Again, fell into sociology when I started learning some vocabulary words that I'd never heard, like mestizo. I was like in Latin American history in my senior year, finishing up my history minor, and I happened to read the word mestizo, and I was like, what's a mestizo? And it means someone who has European and native descent, or indigenous descent, or Amerindian descent, all these other words, okay? And it got me wondering, so what race am I? Because of course I'm American, I have European mixed with a ton of other things, including the Native American. And so what race am I was a question I just started asking. And then I started delving into race. And then I started realizing that white is not a race, it's an ethnicity. It's a grouping of people from all over the planet, for example. And then over time, I started looking at how race was socially constructed and how race was created so that Europeans could have a clear-cut lower class workforce. And it really changed all my attitudes on things. Um, Also, what got me into it was I was in that same Latin American history class and I was studying the Latin American Wars of Revolution that kind of happened around the same time of the American Revolution here in the United States. And I realized that really what that war was, it wasn't just like a series of events, so to say. I mean, it was, but what it really was class warfare. It was the middle class, the European descendants who were born in America overthrowing their European overlords, the British and the Spanish. And so essentially the middle class took over and took elite upper class positions. But what did they do once George Washington, as Thomas Jefferson, everyone got power? They did not write women into the Constitution, and they also restricted minorities. And so, by this way, European descendants that had light skin and were male were able to dominate the capitalist economy for, hundreds of years until the civil rights movement and social change. But again, the idea of the American Revolution as class warfare was just a unique way of looking at a historical perspective, So it's more like a sociological historical perspective or a socio-historical perspective. So again, in this class, you'll get a little bit of a mix. We're going to take a little bit of a biopsychosocial approach because we need to understand, are people actually different based upon our race biologically? Is there a biological basis for race? We're going to need to know a little bit about social psychology, the way the brain works, and the way people behave. But then again, in sociology, we're really focusing on everything out here. Yes, we are very concerned with how the individual works to understand how things operate with the individual level. But again, that's more the realm of psychology. But as you're going to find, the biopsychosocial perspective is, we need information from all the sciences and sociology to make sense of how society works. So you're going to hear me talking a lot about history and race and economics and politics because all of this stuff matters because we're studying groups of people. We need to understand all things people, all things human. So, this is just a quick introduction to the class. As you guys can see on my screen, you guys are going to be going into Introduction to Sociology. You guys are already there, obviously. You're watching this video. Each week in the class announcements, I'll put up what's due just to give you a quick overview, and I'll put in a nice video for you. Make sure you guys look over your syllabus, which is located here. Here's the faculty information should you need anything for emails and such. But then when you guys first get into this class, you're going to go through the getting started, which we'll look at for a second. And then after that, I usually just work out of the assignments tab because the assignments tab has every week that you're going to need all pretty much in here. Okay. But again, to begin this class, you're going to go to getting started and you're going to work through all of this, open up all these folders. The most important thing to do is to get set up for your inquisitives. You have to get registered for the inquisitives. It's also handy to have your library card and all that worked out. I don't think you guys should have any problems with that, but it's always handy to make sure your library access is all worked out for you. Okay, so as you can see in class announcements every week, it'll tell you what to do. So in this, it tells you need to complete the 3 getting started assignments, watch the lecture on Introduction to Sociology, and research and complete the Introduction to Sociology assignment. So that's where you guys will get started for the week. Work through all the getting started. Make sure you get registered for your inquisitive. Do the introduction discussion board that's posted up here. And do the getting started quiz. Okay, so getting started quiz, how to use inquisitive, getting started introduction to a discussion board. That'll get you set up for the class and ready to go. So there's no questions going in. Of course, when you guys have questions, just give me a quick email. And again, when you guys go into week 1, you're going to see the same thing. Complete the getting started assignments, watch the lecture. Here's the link, just click on it and then research and complete the Introduction to Sociology assignment, which is down here. So you guys will just open this up. There's 2 parts to the assignment. First, what's sociology? Again, we're studying society, groups of people. We're also looking at social behavior, social interaction, large institutions. And then everything is here for your links, guys. You click on all the links, work through this, and then you guys are also going to explore jobs in sociology, so click on this. Okay, then you guys are going to write a paper that's 300 words in length that covers all of that. So just read through the instructions, have a good time with this class. I hope you guys are inspired by some really incredible ideas and such, and please email me with any questions. Thank you so much and have a wonderful day.